People, Deluded, I'm back again. I'm in the work office and I'm not going to flip the camera, but everybody's out on meetings and whatnot. So I'm here alone. At the risk of at any moment someone flipping that door open, I thought I'd make a quick little video for you guys. Now, we know January is a tough time to do business. We know in Arsenal's case it's a tough time to do business. We need a centre-half. We still needed a centre-half more so than when Arteta came in, but obviously with Arteta coming in, I wouldn't necessarily say our form's been amazing because we're still dropping points, but there's been an uptick in performance, there's feel-good factor, and a lot of the players are in form. Xhaka polarised his opinion. Right now he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Socrates and David Luiz, they're playing in great form, and they might have potentially shifted certain people's opinions on them. I personally think we need a centre-half or two because neither of them, I do see Luiz as a bit of a leader in this Arsenal team and think he'll be here next season and is an important voice of such already in the dressing room. Socrates the same because he stands up to be counted. But if we're completely honest with you, you get what you pay for. I hope their form continues. Like I said, man, they're nice people and they're playing in good form, they earn it. But if we're honest with ourselves, if the form starts to deteriorate, would we keep the same energy? No, neither Socrates, neither David Luiz are going to be here long term. Both the wrong side of 30, both contracted until 2021. A decision is going to have to be made on both of them in the summer. Potentially one of the two leave. And if we're honest, neither are of the quality to be a first choice defence or whatever. Probably Saliba's probably a bit behind them in terms of development because he is still fresh to the professional men's level game, but you'd rather persist with him. You'd rather a new centre-half or two come in as well. I would like two new centre-halves to go with Saliba coming in. You've obviously got Rob Holding and Chambers is there. That's about 5 centre-halves, but on paper we've still got Mavropanos who's out on loan and remains to be seen if he can cut his teeth here and have a future. Mustafi, like Socrates and Luiz, should not be here and his future will have to be resolved at least in the summer. There's talk of going to Galatasaray on loan and all of these sort of things. Will these things come to anything? I don't know. But moving away from that, people, I thought I'd speak about a couple of players, literally two. The first will be, I can never say names, but Strasbourg's centre-half, and he can also play on the right-hand side, 19-year-old Mohamed Simakan. I can never say his name, but his first name is Mohamed. From what I've seen of Strasbourg this season, he's looked very decent. He's fairly strong, decent height, fairly composed on the ball, can bring it out from the back, reads the game well, reads danger well. Obviously, he's 19 and he's not the most experienced, so there will be some naiveties there. But Strasbourg isn't the biggest of clubs, with all due respect. Are they going to command the biggest of fees? And if a young 19-year-old with the longevity aspect, with fairly decent potential, with the ability to play at fullback, I know Maitland-Niles is locking that down right now, it could be something to look at. He had a great game against PSG a few months back as well. So far this season he's made 14 appearances. I'm going to still run the eye over him, of course, but yeah, not really any need to mention this, but you lot know me, I watch youth football, and France's youth level player Mbuku, who plays for Reims, he was recently sent off in a game, I believe, but he's a decent winger and he's 17 and he's on the bench in a top flight division, so I'm always going to pay attention and recognise these things as we go on. Finally, I wanted to mention an 18-year-old central midfielder who plays for Toulouse, Kone. Now, discipline needs to improve in the top level because I believe he's definitely been sent off and he's got 3 yellow cards. This shows you potentially his anticipation skills aren't there. In terms of the mental aspect, having to see a picture on a football pitch before it's happened needs to improve, and this shows potentially ultimately he's a bit reactive than proactive. But he's 18. He's barely made any senior appearances, but he looks decent generally in his career. But he looks decent for me. Like I said, he's been sent off this season, but I think he's decent on the ball. He's fairly composed. I don't have him down as a goal-scoring midfielder, but when he does shoot sporadically from range, he's got a decent effort on him, and I think he has bagged this season. Fairly good in terms of interceptions, fairly composed in terms of what he does on the ball, decent passing range, and obviously anyone that comes from Toulouse's academy, you have to pay attention to them. Obviously Toulouse have him, they have Sangria, there's many players Toulouse have that could get moves elsewhere, and he's someone I've got a lot of time for, people. Moving away from that, you've seen us link with Mertens again, Napoli man. free transfer in the summer. I don't buy that one bit, people, but you never know. We could have question marks over both of our strikers this season, so potentially next season, sorry. So potentially it could be something that appeals to Arsenal. Not gonna cost anything. Free transfer. But like with Mkhitaryan and Alexis swap deal, free transfers can be very expensive. And I don't have it to hand, but I'm sure Mertens is 32. For him, it'd be good. He'd move to London. If I'm him, I'm not trying to get anything less than a 3-year deal. Would it make sense us getting him on a 3-year deal or offering him even a 2-year when, disregard ability for a second, people? You've got Mesut Ozil, you've got Aubameyang, you've got Socrates, you've got Luiz. You've got several players that are in their 30s and decisions will need to be made in regards to the short, medium and long term. Why add someone else to the mix? I'd rather go and get someone young with potential than Mertens. And that's no disrespect to him because he's a decent player. Allegedly, Roma are interested in him, so it could be something that is up their street. Journalist Peter O'Rourke, I believe, O'Rourke, I can never say these names and my handwriting is terrible, so I know I didn't write it so I could read it. But apparently he says Arteta is a massive fan of James Maddison and he would like him. Now, in true Arsenal fashion, we're looking for creative players when we need to sort out the spine. I would take Maddison with a heartbeat. Maddison's a baller. I wanted him when he was at Coventry and Norwich and them things. In fact, he went on loans from Norwich somewhere. It hasn't been plain sailing for him. He's a baller like you're seeing at Leicester. He's someone that's potentially going to go to the Euros with England if he continues, can score from range, can score goals, looks to make things happen, is an Arsenal player. I would love him or Grealish, people, as well. Grealish a baller as well. If Villa go down, that might be something for us. Both of them, like I said, could play for England. Maddison, I would take him. It's not going to be done in January, of course. In the summer, who knows? Because I think for Maddison to really leave Leicester, similar to Maguire, he'd have to drag his heels and dig his feet in the mud a bit, because what real lead do Leicester have? Leicester are better than us at this moment. The league table shows that. They've got a strong side. Obviously, next season could be something different, but they've got a core group of players. I assume they want to, add a couple more and expand and build and whatnot. So it's exciting times. And Maddison, with Chilwell and players like that, and Telemans and the rest of them, he's key to that. So why would they? They're in the stronger side. They need the player. Premier League teams are getting richer and richer. They don't need the money. If they were to be asked for the money, you can expect more upfront fees in a place of staggered costs, which you typically see Arsenal do, like with Pepe. You'd have to pay over the odds. I would like to do a deal at around 60 million because of today's day and age, and that would be him digging his feet in and letting it, and really having to cut all ties at Leicester to make that move happen. If not, then you're looking at anything from 60 to 100 million for Maddison and potentially Chilwell as well. Football's gone illogical in terms of the transfer window prices. 50 million is the new 25, but like all the points I've said in relation to Leicester, if Maguire's went for 80 million and they showed already they'd play hardball over him because they didn't really want to sell him. Do you get it, people? How much is James Maddison going to go for? Someone who's younger than Maguire, someone who's being earmarked by all these teams, someone that's presence on the global scene in terms of endorsements, in terms of playing for England, in terms of, as he keeps making the difference in the Prem, he becomes more and more of a household name. What difference, what prerogative do they have to sell him? Obviously, Grealish, he's been relegated before and stayed with Villa. I think Grealish's situation is different, because if he goes down, especially with England now, he'd have to leave Villa. He's a Villa boy. I'm sure he doesn't want to leave. I'm sure a couple of years ago he was close to Tottenham, so he's shown that when the opportunity comes, he's not afraid to take it. You're probably looking at a similar 40 to 60, maybe even 70 in today's mad day and age for him. If they get relegated, of course they can't command that to a degree. In fact, he'd still be their player. They have no need to sell unless he drags his heels in. Which, does he want to burn being a Villa boy, come through the academy? Does he want to leave in a messy sort of way? I doubt it. There's obviously probably some agreement had in Villa in that if he's relegated, if Villa's relegated, Grealish can go, because it's been a while now, and to be fair, he's rejected a lot of offers to join more reputable teams and whatnot. He's played in an FA Cup final with Villa, if I remember correctly, because I was at Wembley in 2015 when we retained it, and in the yellow kit. That was a good final, people, man. Bear man, I swear Giroud scored in that game as well. But yeah, people, I would love either one, but I don't know if it's going to happen. And admittedly, I'd like us to address the centre half and more. There's many different profiles of midfielders we need, but more so someone that can play with Torreira, that's got that similar style, or someone that can play in place of Torreira, because it's not healthy to rely on Terrell. Terrell's a quality player. I'm not saying not to rely on him, but if he gets injured, we shouldn't really go to pot. And the Leeds game kind of showed you, if Torreira's not there, then together with Xhaka, that pivot is the only pivot, at least now to the end of the season, that's really going to be of a real standard for us. Guendouzi's my guy, he's played well this season generally, but right now there's a substantial drop-off. So I'm not too sure. So in conclusion, I would take Maddison. The young lad from Strasbourg, 19-year-old, is someone to look at. They've also got Ibrahima Sissoko, a decent midfielder as well. Yeah, there's not really much more for me to add. So I'm going to get out of here before we start ramping and messing around and people catch me in the act, people. DG.